2 months before I quit drinking. And I didn't quit drinking being like, I'm never going to drink again, because the thought of not drinking again scared me a lot. And it was so ingrained in how I socialized with friends and how I spent time with my husband. You know, we'd go, because we didn't have kids, we'd go for meals and we'd get a few drinks. And, you know, I wasn't like, I didn't drink every day. It wasn't like that. But when I did drink, the anxiety it gave me, and it just made me sad. And I'm like, if something's making me sad, why am I doing it? So you have to unpick a lot. And it's a very personal relationship with alcohol that I think everyone has different ones. It's like with food. Some people have got different relationships with food, or, you know, we all have our vices. But when I quit smoking, and everyone was so supportive, and it was like, that's amazing, good for you. You know, I quit cold turkey, just gave up smoking. And then when I quit the drinking, it's same.
Yeah. People
have a reaction, but I realized quickly that their reaction to me not drinking was nothing to do with me. It was to do with their relationship often. But yeah, it took about a year, I think, for people to kind of accept or get their head around. And also for me as well to kind of realize, do you know what? I'm a lot happier without it.
Yeah.
So now I need to figure out what life looks like without it. Hence I did like a sign language course and a counselling course. And, you know, I had all this time to like, fill my brain with stuff. And then the PhD and then, the business and a baby. And so, yeah, it takes time. But again, I realised quick it wasn't anything to do with me, really. It was to do with how they felt about it.
The thing is about yourself, isn't it? If there's something that's not making you happy that you can get rid of, you know, not easily, because obviously it can be quite difficult, then that's something you can focus on. And then other things can come from that. You know, for my own experience, as different as it was, that was just a brief glimpse into that sort of situation. But after that, it was fine again. And, you know, because it didn't really make any difference to me. I was still able to go out. I was still able to go on company nights out.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't
I'm
make
always
any difference.
on the
It didn't
dance
stop
floor
anything.
at a wedding.
So I was able to do all the things I would have done anyway. It was just what I was doing was just ever so slightly different to everyone else. And once they realized that, they were fine with it. And I think that was the thing. You were right. They were thinking about themselves and maybe thinking, oh, I couldn't do that. And that was where it was coming from.
Yeah.
Because that's why it stopped very quickly, because they realized they're probably just thinking about what they were going through.
Absolutely.
Rather than what I choose to do or not.
Yeah. I noticed as well, after I gave up, you start to take that step back. And then after having my daughter, realised like there's a lot of messaging, especially for women and mums, this kind of culture around, you know, you put the kids to bed and it's like 5 o'clock wine, or, you know, a lot of like water bottles, could be gin, you know, like that kind of stuff. And I think the intent behind it isn't negative, but there's this subconscious, and even historically you look at in the 1950s when women were, you know, encouraged to be housewives, and if they went to the doctors feeling depressed, the doctors would literally prescribe alcohol and tell them to have a cocktail and it'll calm them down and they'll feel fine. So there's this kind of cultural, especially amongst women and mothers, this underlying like, you know, encouragement of using alcohol to kind of suppress their emotions, which I had no idea was even there until I took a step back from it. And then you start seeing it, and then suddenly you see it everywhere.
Because you don't realize, I suppose, it's like it can be ingrained in different parts of society in different ways. There's expectations of a lot of things. Once you're on the outside, you realize, you didn't really notice them while you're kind of in it.
For men, it's like, you know, the lads go to the pub and have a beer, and it's that kind of toxic, but having alcohol as a kind of a way of being able to express your emotions almost. And that, I think so on both, it's not just a women's issue, you know, I think across society, alcohol's very much embedded in different ways. And for a lot of people, it's not a problem. But for a lot of people, it is, but they maybe don't realize it is, or it's quite a complex thing. But
it's not realizing it's a problem is like the more serious problem in the end of the day. But once you kind of can find a way to deal with that and sort of whatever that might be, then that's where you can sort of move on and make other improvements. You know, it might be that the start of many different things. It might be one small step you take. You might decide to, if it's something you want to cut out every so often, and you eventually just phase it out, whatever it is. Even if it's not something that you're having a problem with per se, you just want to give something up.
Yeah, give it a try.
Give it a try.
Just changing different things. Yeah, love that.